Thank you very much, and morning, everyone. I'm not going to attempt Greek. I know I promised last year I would try and learn, but I can't. So there we go. Before I start my 10 minutes, hopefully, just a couple of thank yous. Firstly, thank you for the consortium and allowing us to present here. Secondly, thank you to Interoptics, and happy 30th birthday to Manos and the team. Really appreciate your support here. Goes without saying. So thank you. I would sing happy birthday, but that's even worse than my Greek. So there you go. I'll try and keep this short and sweet. There's a lot of content. Some of it you'll be aware of if you're users of Turnitin and Feedback Studio. It's just a little bit of insight. I've got two presentations today. The second one is probably a little bit more interesting. I'm not going to lie. Okay. So first things first. I'll skip the first few slides. I did this presentation about 2 weeks ago in South Africa and took about 3 hours. So let's not do that again. So first things first, a few new releases within Feedback Studio that you guys may or may not be aware of. A new feature which is, it's old but new, is called Paper to Digital. What this allows instructors to do is to grade en masse using AI. So we harness the power of AI to reduce the burden on your instructors. It takes a student's assessment paper from being in a paper format to being able to actually grade that digitally, but digitally en masse. So instead of grading one question at a time per student, you grade one question for 20 students or 200 students at once. Doesn't really matter. So it cuts the grading time down by around 75% in terms of time. So a huge, huge benefit for you. It's something that is available within Feedback Studio. It's just a switch we turn on and it gives you access instantly. So that's one element which hopefully you guys may see the benefit of. You can come and see us at the stand and I can give you any amount of information on that you require. Second thing, which may or may not be relevant for some of you, all of you, don't know, Microsoft Teams, we eventually have an integration with through Feedback Studio. It's been probably about 4 years in the making, but it is now here, it's live, so you can now benefit from that, which is probably one of the best integrations we have. But obviously we know there's regional requirements with that as well, which we'll come on to in a little while. In terms of administrators, your enhancements within your inbox, what you can do from your dashboard has been changing over the last probably 6 to 12 months. A lot more improvements to come, but the content that is on there is hopefully going to be a lot more informative for you, so you don't have the time spent having to go in and out of reports. You can do a hell of a lot more from within your inbox, from your dashboard as an administrator or as an instructor. So you've got a lot more control over that. A few things that you can see that we've brought in. So new search bar functionality has been coming for, again, a couple of years, but that's probably one of the biggest things that we've brought. Your flags column, which we'll come into in a little while. There are certain challenges with this. So one thing that we didn't have a very good integration with was if students were using OneDrive as a storage facility, to be able to upload papers from there was not impossible, but it was difficult. So that's one huge improvement that we've now changed and supported as a result of that integration with MS Teams. And obviously we've got paper to digital assessment types in there as well. LTI, so sorry to get geeky for a little while here, but it's the way it is. So moving forward, any integrations that we have with Turnitin will be moving on to LTI 1.3. Huge advantage of that is any improvements that we bring can go across the board really quickly. So rather than having different standards of integration, I think at one point we had 200 plus different integrations. Now it's going to be one standard across the board moving forward. So if it's an improvement that comes with, I don't know, an integration with Moodle, we can replicate that really easily with another, say, Canvas or MS Teams or any LMS that you wish. So that's a huge benefit from our side, but it will eventually play through for you guys. One of the big things with that is obviously copy and assignment setups. It reduces the time taken for an instructor to do their role and do their job as well. Draft Coach is there. It's been there for a couple of years now for your students. The presentation this afternoon, there'll be some more information as to additional tools that are coming in 2025 from Turnitin. So I know I've got the 2 graveyard shifts in terms of time. Last one before coffee break this morning and last one before the end of day this afternoon. So I'll try and keep it as exciting as I can, but hey, it's technology. So yeah, Draft Coach is something that students can use, they'll utilize in order to submit assignments or submit draft assignments or draft papers and get the same information from the similarity report as an instructor would do after submission. There are some additional enhancements going into this solution over the next 12 months. At the moment, AI reporting is not available to students. The likelihood is it won't be. It's something that we continue to monitor, continue to develop. We continue to receive feedback from institutions, from instructors as to whether or not that's something that would be useful, not useful. But we are bringing in additional tools which will help both the instructor and the student when it comes to actually encouraging the use of AI in a way with integrity. Let's just put it that way. So you've got more control over student submissions with paper deletions, being able to do that easily as an administrator, so you no longer have to send in requests to our support teams and take 2 or 3 days to have a return on that. That is now completely in the control of the institution and the administrator. There is a new similarity report, but I'll not steal the thunder of later on in my second presentation. So the new similarity report for Feedback Studio users is due to hit early 25. There are massive improvements to what the actual report looks like and the usability of that report. It's a lot easier to interpret. There is a lot more accuracy in terms of flags on there. When I say flags, I'm not sure if you guys know what I mean, but things like hidden text where a student has tried to hide the fact that they've plagiarized, or if they've used, I don't know, numbers instead of letters, obviously one being a 3 instead of an E. So yeah, that's something which is due to hit in early 2025, but one of the enhancements we've done here is bring in template exclusion. So if you set an assignment for a student and as part of that they're going to include a template of the question, the instructor can exclude that instantly, so it doesn't actually show up as similarity and it doesn't look as though the student is colluded with other students on that assignment. So it saves time in order to actually grade that paper, if you like, because you're not constantly looking at whether or not a student is plagiarized. I touched on this in the previous slide. So integrity insights with a lot more focused information. The new integrity or the new similarity report is going to be a lot more precise in terms of what it looks like and how you can actually look at the flags down the right hand side. The information you receive in those flags is going to be a lot more precise and it's going to be a lot more intuitive, so a lot more click and it'll take you to the source. So yeah, hopefully you guys will see that, that improvement as well. You can track your students' engagement with the LMS, which is new. A lot of the tools now that you'll have with Feedback Studio are going to be in the background in terms of reporting. You're going to have a lot more access to reports on an institution basis, but also on a class basis. And that'll eventually go down into assignment level as well. So you'll see enhancements from that side of things. Obviously, in terms of the engagement with the LMS for students, it's more around spotting trends So is a particular student constantly submitting late? Is there a reason for it? Because obviously well-being is one big thing we've got to take account of now. So is it the fact that there's something happening in that student's private life that's impacting on their academic performance? There's lots of different ways this can be used. So that's hopefully something that'll be good for you. Integrity insights we've passed on previously. The dashboard is going to constantly change as an instructor and as an administrator. So hopefully you guys will see this as a huge benefit for you moving forward. So one of the things we've brought flags onto the front page for you, so you'll have access to that, no problem whatsoever. All right. One thing which a lot of people don't realize that we have within Turnitin is curriculum resources. If you haven't got that, I'll share these slides afterwards, so you can click through to these until your heart's content, no problem. There's a lot of support from a curriculum point of view within the website. Your instructors can use that. There's a lot of best practices on there. So it's definitely something that I would recommend you do. I'll try and keep this really quick. So what's in development, you can see on the far right hand side there, that's what's generally available for you. In early release, we've got the new similarity report and the feedback and grading experience, which I'll touch on this afternoon. There's going to be further development with, which is quite exciting for us. And next in priority is in-product guidance. So if you've got new instructors that are new to use and Turnitin, there's going to be a lot more functionality in terms of being able to take them through a step-by-step guide. And if they don't know what something does, obviously they've got the in-app guidance. So additional from us, just so that you guys are aware that you might not have access to. Grade Scope is effectively the same as paper to digital. It just sits as a separate product. It is generally aimed at STEM subjects, so a lot of technical nature subjects, but it's something which again cuts down the grading experience in terms of time taken to overall grade. So that is taking a paper assignment into digital environment. ExamSoft is the opposite. So it's an online environment. You create the assessment online, completely online. It has a form of proctoring in there as well. So high stakes assessment, it gives you assessment with integrity. It ensures that the student isn't using things like ChatGPT during an assessment. You've got a form of proctoring in there, which is incredibly useful, obviously, to ensure the security of that exam. A little bit in there as regards what that does in terms of strengthening your assignments. Promises the last 3 slides. It's coffee time. So AI writing, I've tried my best not to put too much in here in terms of AI, because I think we're all pretty tired of discussing it. But essentially, there is still a disconnect in terms of actually using AI and enhancing work with AI and the acceptance of that. So you'll see that there are enhancements with our AI writing indicator. So big thing, the AI report now you'll see separates paraphrasing as well as generative AI. So that is something which has been there since the beginning of the year, but we split that out, I think, early September onwards. So the paraphrasing detection is something which you guys hopefully will now see, and is very, very useful to have. Last one, feedback for us. Any feedback at all, please, please, please provide it to us. The way our products develop is with your feedback. If we don't have that, we're making decisions based on what we think the market needs rather than actually what the market does need. So if we get your feedback, that is like gold dust for us. So please, please, please take the time, go online, provide that feedback for us. And that is it.